Hi, friend. It's Miss W with another story time for you. But let's get started by singing our hello song and putting our hands in the air. Are you ready? Put your hands in the air, in the air. Put your hands in the air, in the air. Put your hands in the air. Now shake 'em up there. Put your hands in the air, in the air. Spin your arms, spin your arms, spin your arms. Spin your arms, spin your arms. Stop! Go the other way. Spin your arms, 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 spin your arms. Clap your hands, clap your hands, clap your hands. Clap your hands, clap your hands, clap your hands. Clap them real fast. Stop. Clap them real slow. Clap your hands, clap your hands, clap your hands. Yes, good job. Well, let's sing our hello song. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? How are you today? It's good to have you here. It's good to have you right here in Storytime. It's good to have you here. How are you today? And I hope you're doing fine and having a great and awesome day. Well, friends, we are going to talk about what's going on this time of year. Things are changing. It gets dark quicker. And it gets cooler. Sometimes we have to put on maybe a jacket, maybe a hat. We're not ready to put coats on yet. But yes, it's starting to get cooler outside. And another way that we know that it is a season called fall is because, look, friends, the leaves are falling down. Look, the leaves are falling down. They're falling down on the ground. And everywhere you look, there's leaves all over the ground. And they're different colors. Some are brown. Some are orange. Some are red. A few of them may be green. And some are yellow. But the leaves are falling down. The leaves are falling down. The leaves are falling down. All on the ground. The leaves are falling down. The leaves are falling down. The leaves are falling down. All over the ground. The leaves are falling down. And you know what? That's how I know it's fall. That's how I know it's fall. Because the leaves are falling down. Yes, they are. There are a lot of ways that we know it's fall. In fact, one of our favorite Storytime friends, Pete the Cat, is going to tell us about some. It's called Pete the Cat Falling for Autumn. That's a different word. Autumn is another word for fall. You hear some people say it's the time of the season called fall, and you hear others say the season is autumn, but they're talking about the same thing. Now, this book was written and illustrated, and what do we say the illustrator is? That's right, the person who draws the pictures, by Kimberly and James Dean. Let's find out about Pete the Cat in autumn. My goodness, look at this page. What color is that page? That's right, it's orange. And look, Pete the cat looks like he's falling. We're going to find out what they're doing there real soon, okay? It's the first day of fall, and Pete the cat is feeling blue. That means he's not feeling happy. I like summer better, he says. In summer, I can swim and surf and go to the beach. Maybe you just need to remind yourself of all the things you love about autumn, Mom suggested. Pete says, I'll try. Pete finds Grandma in the kitchen. She's baking delicious pumpkin pies. The whole house smells sweet and spicy. Pete loves helping Grandma bake pumpkin pie, but he loves helping her eat them the most. After the baking is done, Pete picks a small, squat orange pumpkin from the counter and puts it into his backpack as a souvenir. Next, Pete heads to the town corn maze. A maze is a place where they have a lot of stalks of corn, and you go in and you move around in it until you find your way out. Next, he heads to the town maze. Pete and his friends, they go through the long, twisty path and make of all the corn stalks they're made of. The best part of the corn maze is getting lost and having to start all over again. As he leaves, Pete, look, he's plucking a golden corn cob from the maze, and he places that in his backpack. Then Pete visits Grandpa, who is knitting on the porch. Grandpa helps Pete using the knitting needles to knit the yarn. Look what they're doing. They're making a yellow and purple long scarf. Together, Pete and Grandpa make a long, cozy scarf. Guess for who? That's right, for Pete to wear on them cool fall days. When they're done, Pete chooses a small ball of leftover yarn and he places that into his backpack. Next, Pete goes on a hayride. That was that small picture we saw in the front. Look. Pete and Bob, Mom, Dad, and Grandpa all pile into a wagon. And look, it's being pulled by a tractor. And they're sitting on hay. They go bumpity, 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 bump, riding around the park. At the end of the ride, Pete grabs a handful of sweet-smelling hay from the wagon and stuffs that into his backpack. That's right, friends. Pete heads over to the apple orchard. An apple orchard is the same thing as an apple farm. It's a place where apple trees of all different kinds are planted, and then the apples grow on them, and you can go and pick the apples off the tree. Let's find out what Pete is doing. Pete heads over to the apple orchard where he and Callie go apple picking. That's what they're doing. They eat sweet apple donuts and drink hot apple cider and fill their buckets with apple of all different shapes and sizes. But before he leaves, Pete chooses a round red apple and drops that into his backpack. His backpack is getting kind of full, you see. Next, Pete stops by the park. He plays touch football with Bob and their friends. Pete scores a touchdown, and everyone cheers, "Yay, Pete!" After the game, Pete grabs Bob's football and stuffs it into the backpack. It barely fit. "Bob won't mind if I borrow this for a moment," said Pete. Finally, Pete heads back home, but he stops in his front yard, which is covered with bright leaves falling from the trees. Pete helps his dad rake the leaves into big, colorful mounds. Then Pete runs and jumps into the pile of leaves. After he's done jumping, Pete picks a bunch of red and gold and orange leaves, and he stuffs those also into his backpack. Pete's backpack is bursting with all of his fall souvenirs. He can't wait to show Mom. "I love autumn," Pete says. "Wonderful," says Mom. "You know," he pulled everything out. All of these, they will make a great decoration for Thanksgiving." So Pete helps Mom fill a basket with all of his prized possessions and mementos. There is a corn, there is leaves, the apple, the yarn, the football, the pumpkin, and the hay. "You did a great job, Pete," says Mom. "It's beautiful." "Is that my football?" said Bob. Just then, the doorbell rang. Oh, the Thanksgiving guests are here. They are all Pete's family and friends that gather around the dining room table. They tell stories and laugh at jokes while they eat. Everyone is having a great time. Pete looks around the table and he smiles. He loves lots of things about autumn, but Pete knows what he loves most of all about all year long. His family and friends. The end. Wow, the last thing that Pete was celebrating was Thanksgiving. And this is the month, in a couple of weeks, all of us will be doing Thanksgiving also. But let's get back to those leaves on the trees. Because not only are leaves on the trees, there is something called acorns. Have you seen acorns on the ground yet? Squirrels love to come and get acorns. They take them back to their places, their nests, or wherever it is that they're going to be for all winter, and they eat on them all winter long. And here we have some acorns. Let's count and see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little acorns hanging in the tree. The first one said, "I'm as happy as can be." The second one said, "Ooh, it feels like fall." The third one said, "It's the best season of all." The fourth one said, what's that sound? The fifth one said, "Look, the squirrel! The squirrel is coming around." So along came a squirrel, as quiet as can be. And he took all of those acorns off of that tree so he could have them all winter long. Boom! There's our squirrel friend. Brown squirrel, swish your bushy tail. Brown squirrel, swish your bushy tail. Now you can go back and eat your acorns. Tell the children bye. Bye. Bye, Mr. Squirrel. Well, friends, before we do our last thing, I have to tell you something. If you come to University City Public Library, I'm going to have some things for you to do. In a bag, you will be able to make this acorn man. The directions for will be there, and you will be gluing on his hat, his eyes. You'll make a nose and a mouth the way you want to make it. You'll glue his arms and his feet and legs. Again, these will be at the University City Public Library for you to go home. We call these take and make. And that's what you will be doing. Okay? Let's get ready for another book. The Ugly Pumpkin. This is one of my favorite books. Does he look happy? No. This book was written and illustrated. That's right, the person who drew the pictures, by David Horowitz. My goodness, look at all of that. It looks like it's rocks and leaves that are on the ground. Look, the ugly pumpkin is walking. I wonder where he's going. I am the ugly pumpkin, as you can plainly see. 100,000 pumpkins. None are quite like me. Since early October, I've been waiting to get picked, but each time things start looking up, I end up getting tricked. They chose this one instead. A skeleton came for pumpkins one bright and crispy day. I asked if I could get a ride. He laughed and said, "No way." He couldn't even get a ride. Look at the many pumpkins that was taken that day. Look at that big yellow leaf. Woo. And when I said it's getting late and I don't have a home, he rolled that one eye and said goodbye and left me all alone. So I walked into November, where I happened to see some trees. I asked if I could stay a while, and this time I said, "Please." The trees all started smiling, and then one finally spoke. "Take off your boots and spread your roots." Another cried, "Joke!" That wasn't very nice at all, was it? I don't think so either, friends. Let's turn the page. I am the ugly pumpkin, I shouted to the sky. And then it started raining, and I began to cry. I took shelter in a garden that was overrun with squash. I noticed something very odd. Do any of them look like the ugly pumpkin? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I am a squash. At last it was Thanksgiving and I found where I fit in. Now you know my story, so let the feast begin. Oh my goodness, the ugly pumpkin was not a pumpkin at all. He was a squash. And I'm so glad that he found some other squash. Okay, let's do one more thing. The autumn leaves are falling down. The autumn leaves are falling down. Oh my goodness, the autumn leaves are falling down. The wind is rolling them all around. The wind is rolling them all around. Oh my goodness, the wind is twirling them and rolling them all around. Get your rake out. We'll rake them into a pile. Rake them into a pile. Yes, we are today going to rake them into a pile. Let's make our pile. We have a pile of leaves. What should we do? I know. Let's jump. We'll jump into the pile. Jump into the pile. Oh, yes, we will today. Let's give a big jump. Jump into the pile. Oh my goodness, friends, we had fun today. We jumped into the pile. We let the leaves falling down. Pete showed us all the wonderful things that we can do in fall. And then the ugly pumpkin told us again about Thanksgiving because he was a squash. But now, friends, it's time to say goodbye. So let's sing our goodbye song. Now it's time to say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Now it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye in story time. Now it's time to say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Now it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye in story time. Goodbye in story time. See you next time, friends. Bye-bye.